Greetings, citizens of the internet. I'm Static Buzz, and this is another Assassin's Creed Odyssey guide. And this one's going to actually be early game tips. So what we're going to go over is just some basic things for, when you're first starting out, what do you need to know? And the first thing you probably need to know is how to read the map. So if we go to the map, you'll have all these icons on here, depending on the settings you've selected. I have everything showing, and you can see that there are side quests, there are pictures. You can hide these. These are pictures taken by other people. I don't know why somebody would take that picture. These are towns and whatnot. Same as here, Sammy. It's got its own little icon. Docks. This is a cave. Now the main thing that you need to know on this is if there's an area that when you go into it, it has things you need to do to complete that area, it'll show you here once you're close enough. If you're not close enough, you'll get an unknown or undiscovered location question mark. When you get closer, it'll turn to the icon for what it is and show you what it expects you to do to complete it. This one I haven't completed. I got to go find another treasure. I've got to find an Odd Enigmata Ostraka, which is an ancient tablet. I will cover those in another video. So I still have things to do in that one. On this one over here, however, I have completed this area, or at least what the game believes is what needs to be done to complete an area. And I killed an alpha animal there, which happened to be an alpha wolf. Now in there were treasures for me to grab. The game doesn't consider smaller loot as important. There was a big chest in that one though, so I'm surprised it doesn't say chest. But anyways, you will know if there's things that you can still do on the map by looking at this, and you can kind of use it to guide you if you like. Now, other icons that are important are like the question marks, not the question mark, exclamation marks that are like this. This is a side quest, and you can do those for experience and items and money, I guess, basically. This here is showing the quest that I have targeted or tracked. If I go to the quest log and I say track this just want cruelty, and then I go back to the map, you will see that that has no longer got that icon on it. These ones are ones I haven't taken yet, so I can't track them or not track them. This symbol is a message board. If you go there, you can do, I guess, what you call side quests. Some of them are true side quests. Some of them are more like bounties, like kill 15 bandits in an area or something like that. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the map. That is basically how the map works. This symbol here is a viewpoint. I will cover those in another video as well. Alright, so now on to, oh, that's a nice picture. On to abilities. Abilities. These are what you get for leveling up. Once you get to level 2, you get an ability point, and you can spend it to upgrade one of these. These down here are different types of abilities and require different, they have different requirements for improving those. And you can kind of see them when you hover over them. This is, you can improve Icarus by doing viewpoints, and like I said, I'll be covering those in another video. Now the main thing you need to know here is this is the hunter one, so this is your bow tree. This is your warrior tree, so when you're doing regular melee attacks and fighting with swords, spears, whatnot. And this is your assassin tree, which is basically your stealth tree. So if you're sneaking, and how that works. It does have things for the warrior tree. Well, I shouldn't say for the things that will help the warrior tree, like venomous attacks. You can apply poison to your weapons. Alright, so now that I've said all that, early game, I like to stick with passive skills. And what I mean by passive skills is stuff like this that say Keep those weapons clean and sharp. Increase warrior damage by 20. And like I said, warrior damage is when you're in combat using melee weapons, swords, spears, maces, and the like. This gives me a straight up 20% damage. So that's why I usually go with this one early. And I go with this one early because it does the same thing for assassination kills. It gives me 20% damage. And the other thing is it automatically loots weapons after loots enemies after an assassination. Saves you so much time. The other thing is I always do the revelations because I like to be able to see everything in a general area that I can loot. Some things are especially in caves, are above things, behind things, you can't really see them. You use this, and as long as it's in that circumference, you will be able to see a shining triangle like that to know that you can go loot that. Alright, the hunter tree is for all your bow related stuff. I don't typically go with that early. I do use some of these later on. This is a really handy skill. So you can shoot 3 arrows at the same time, and if you use it with this, it also is a really good skill as well. So the main reason I go with passives, now we're getting back on that, is that as you can see, I can only have 4 melee skills. So if I'm in a melee combat, I will have these abilities to use. So if I had, which I do, I have a healing one, right? And that's my one melee skill over here. I think that is a crucial skill to have. And then I had my bull rush, and then I had my kick, and then I had my warrior shield break here. I wouldn't be able to use any other skills without sacrificing the point that I put into those. So I usually wait till later in the game so I can see some of these skills unlocked to figure out which ones I want to put into the melee 4 square over here. Now, this is critical for warrior versus assassin because they're both the same and go into the same box. That's why most of these are kind of passive skills and whatnot, but you can see that this skill is a assassin skill. So if I was to put this in a box, then, or a slot, I wouldn't be able to use one of these other ones that are probably more useful in the heat of combat. So it's really just, I want to wait and see early on what skills I want to use. So going passive is more important to me. If you go where you want to use a bow more, that's not really an issue so much because you have 4 skills just for that tree alone. So that's why I go passive early on. But look at the skills, see what you like, figure out what kind of play style you want, which is probably more important than anything. You want to have fun, and go with that. Go with what is fun for you and just do it. Don't worry too much about it. Okay, so collecting materials. These are going to be used for upgrading your items and your weapons, your armor, and also your ship. So early game, not so much important that you get these, but you want to get these for when you get your ship. If you don't have these when you get your ship, you won't be able to get a few upgrades that are really handy when you get your ship. And I'll cover that in another video once I get the materials and get my ship. Alright, so this is wood. Wood is usually in an area where you'll find trees. So you always want to gather that. Then there's also metal materials like this here. They can be on mountains, but they're really prevalent in caves, and that's why we want this ability here. Is for when we're in caves, there'll be some up high on walls and behind things that you can't see. That will illuminate them, and as you upgrade that skill, it'll go to a wider area. Alright, so the next thing we're going to cover is some combat basics, and to do that I'm going to take a I'm gonna do what I can with the Talos the mercenary over here. He's kind of a pain for my level, but I should be alright. Now, how I recommend you take on Talos is with a spear. And I have a spear here, as you can see, and I got this for the quest, the side quest. What was it? Was it in the name of in the footsteps of the gods? And basically, you don't give her the spear when you complete the quest. You keep it and you get a rare spear. So that is what I'm going to use because it's quick and Talos is a pain, like I said. So we're going to use that to try to beat him. And now that we have a healing ability, it should make it a little bit easier as well. Alright, so here's Talos. He is weak against assassination. So we're going to see if we can get an assassination. Oh, you can't sneak on somebody with them. Good to know. You can't sneak on somebody when you make them your primary target. Alright. So this guy, he always attacks in multiple, so you want to avoid that. Hit him with the light attack, which is the LB at a distance. So you want to try to do that. You really want to be careful about trying to parry this guy because he's kind of a pain. But avoiding and getting long range attacks and whittling away at his health. And as soon as he backs up like that, he is going to attack. Alright, so you can hold this and try to parry, but it doesn't last very long. So a parry does that, stuns him for a minute, but he is going to come back a lot quicker than other enemies. So be careful with that. Alright, now let's say that I don't need to heal, but let's say... Alright, let me take a hit. Alright, I took a hit. Now let's say that I wanted to heal. I would hold the L button down and hit Y, and that would heal me. There's his multiple attacks. Now you can use some of the special moves. Oh, that was a perfect dodge right there. So that means that I get a few seconds of slowed down time because I dodged at the perfect time. See if I can get that again. No, it's kind of hard. So when you see it slow down like that, you want to kind of go all out so that you can get a lot of damage in that time period when it's slowed down. So the basics of combat is basically avoid while they're attacking or parry, and then attack when they're vulnerable. Alright, so that is the basics of combat. Now let's head to town so I could show you guys the smith. Good, we're not that far away from Sammy. Guess I should have went the other way. Let's call the horse. Alright, and don't forget holding down on the D-pad will call your horse. You can hold A button to automatically travel along the path, and then you can press the Y button to go to either the quest that you're tracking or a marker that you put on the map. In my case right now, I put the marker down because I wanted to go into Sammy. Alright, you can hold down the L button and hit the A button to jump off your horse like so. And then we're going to the blacksmith. Alright, now the blacksmith. The blacksmith is where you can engrave items. So let's say I wanted to engrave this spear. I could add an affix to it depending on which engravings that I have unlocked. I will go over how to unlock these in another video because there are ancient tablets you have to find, and then you have to figure out where to go after you find them to get the engraving. I'll cover those in separate videos. But let's say I wanted to add warrior damage. I would just have to have the materials and the drachmae, the money. I can never say that right. And you can engrave it. Boom. And now that weapon has an extra affix on it. And you can really build up your specific play style with that. So if I wanted to be like an assassin and really sneak and damage people heavily, I could add a assassin damage, or if I wanted bow damage, I could do that, which would be hunter. I didn't really cover that when I went over skills, but hunter is bow damage, assassination is sneaking damage, and warrior damage is when you're in melee combats. Now, another thing you need to know is that I'm level 5 and this is a level 4 weapon, but if I wanted to, I could spend some material and upgrade it to a level 5 weapon and keep that favorite weapon that I want to use throughout the game that way. It's not cheap as you get higher up, and I only recommend doing it on legendary weapons, but you can do that.
Let me know if you need anything else.
Alright, and the other thing that I want to point out is don't be afraid to use Icarus. Icarus is your friend, and as you unlock viewpoints like that one up there, he will become more and more useful. And he will track things for you, like treasures, like that one there. And that is one of those ancient tablets I was talking about, so that you can find them easier. Now, if you have questions, just let me know in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. There's so much in this game that I'm sure that I'm missing something and just not thinking about it right now. But for the most part, I think I covered all the things you might need to know if you're just starting out in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So, as usual, until next video, take care. Bye-bye now. Static Buzz out. I know I'm forgetting something. There's got to be more. There's got to be more. What is there? What is there? That guy's shivering over there.